This is one of my favorite crochet tops because of how easy it is to put it on and remove it, because it has a zipper at the front. It's an open zipper and it fits perfectly. Well, while working this one, I did not attach an open zipper because I wasn't able to find one in this color. But if you're working this top, make sure that you attach an open zipper. This is what I mean by an open zipper. That's a zipper that when you open it like this, you can remove it completely like this, and then you're able to put it back. As you can see with this one that is on my top, you cannot remove it completely, so it's going to be a bit of a challenge to put it over my head, through the bust and onto the waist. So make sure that you get an open zipper. Hello and welcome back to Ladensa Crochets. If you're new here, you're welcome. Kindly subscribe and join the family. Let's turn yarns into amazing crochet pieces together. If you end up enjoying this video, don't forget to like, comment and share, and leave a special gift on the thanks button. I'm using this yarn. It's called Butterfly Zuri and it's 100% acrylic. This yarn is by a company referred to as Spinners and Spinners. It's a yarn manufacturing company in Kenya, and this is a lightweight yarn. So I'll be doubling the strands. So I'll be working with 2 strands of this yarn in order to achieve a medium weight effect. Then I'll be using my 3mm crochet hook. You'll need a pair of scissors, a measuring tape, stitch markers, and a darning needle for weaving in the ends. If you have a medium weight yarn, then no need to double the strands. You'll just work with 1 strand. So I'll be using these 2 at the same time. I'll start with the slip knot. Then chain 40. I have my 40 chains, and the 40 chains represent the height of the top, or the full length of the top. Then you're going to take the measurement without stretching. So when I measure this without stretching, it's going to get me to around 11 inches, almost 11. It's 10.5, which is almost 11. When I work the first row, it's going to stretch out a little bit and get to 11. So if you want your top longer than this, you're going to need to add more chains to the starting chain, that is. So I'm okay with this length, and so I'll begin row 1 now. To begin row 1, we block off the first chain, the last chain, that is, like this, hold it like this and chain 1 more. Then insert the hook into that chain that you're holding, yarn over and pull up a loop to get 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops to complete a single crochet. Then in the next chain, place a single crochet, place a single crochet into the chain that follows, a single crochet into the next chain, a single crochet into the chain that follows, and you're going to work a total of 20 single crochets. Regardless of the number of chains that you've started with, the single crochets should be 20. So work a total of 20 single crochets. Then after that, I'll show you what to do next. I have my 20 single crochets, so I'll get a stitch marker and mark the 20th stitch right there. So mark it, and then from here we're going to work half double crochet stitches. So yarn over, insert the hook into the next chain, yarn over and pull up a loop to get 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through all the loops. Yarn over, insert the hook into the next chain and complete a half double crochet, then half double crochet into the next chain, and continue with 1 half double crochet into all the chains to the end of row 1. I'm at the end of row 1 and this is what I have. So I have 20 single crochets and 20 half double crochet stitches. So now if you began with like 45, you're going to have 20 and 25. Then we're going to chain 1. So chain 1 and turn to begin row 2. Row 2, we begin it into the first stitch and we're going to begin with a half double crochet into that stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch. Then we're going to place 1 half double crochet into all the stitches until we get to the stitch before the stitch marker. I'm at the stitch before the stitch marker, so in that stitch where the stitch marker is, that was a single crochet, so we're going to place a single crochet into that stitch. Right into that stitch, place a single crochet, then mark the stitch. And now continue to the end of row 2 with 1 single crochet into every stitch. This is my last stitch, so into that stitch I'll place my last single crochet there. I'm done with row 2, so I'll chain 1 and turn to begin row 3. We are beginning row 3 with a single crochet into the very first stitch right here, single crochet into the next stitch, single crochet into the stitch that follows, and our last single crochet will be in the stitch that has the stitch marker. I'm in my last single crochet stitch, so right there I'll place a single crochet, then mark the stitch again, and now I'll change to half double crochet stitches all the way to the end of row 3. 1 half double crochet into every stitch to the end. Make sure you do not miss the last stitch, which is this one right here. Place your last half double crochet there, chain 1 and turn to begin row 4. Row 4 is going to be the same as row 2. Be careful not to miss the very last stitch, which is this one right here, and there we're going to have our last half double crochet, chain 1 and turn to begin row 4, which is going to be the same as row 2. So yarn over, start with a half double crochet in the very first stitch, then 1 half double crochet into all the stitches till we get to the stitch before the stitch marker. I'm at the stitch before the stitch marker, so now I'll remove the stitch marker and right there I'll work a single crochet, then mark that stitch, and continue to the end with 1 single crochet into every stitch. I'm at the end of row 4, so I'll chain 1 and turn to begin row 5, and row 5 is going to be the same as row 3, beginning with a single crochet in the very first stitch and 1 single crochet into each of the other stitches till we get to the stitch marker. At the stitch marker, we're going to place a single crochet. I'm at the stitch marker, so I'll take it out and do a single crochet right there. Then mark it again and continue with 1 half double crochet into the remaining stitches to the end of row 5. I'm done with row 5, so I'll chain 1 and turn to begin row 6. Now row 6 is the same as row 2 and row 4. That means all the even rows are the same, all the odd rows are the same. So we're going to keep on repeating row 2 and row 3 until we get half of our bust. So let me complete this row, then I'll show you how to measure to see whether we are approaching half of the bust measurements. So whatever measurement of your bust, take it and divide it by 2. I'm working a bust of 36, and 36 divided by 2 is 18. So that means whatever I'm working right here should have a width of 18 inches. When you're taking the measurement of the width, we hold it like this, then get the measuring tape, place it on our work, and then we stretch. We're going to measure while stretching like this. So right now I'm at 2.5 inches and I want to work until I get to 18. So I'll keep repeating the rows until I get to 18 inches. Keep repeating row 2 and row 3. Right here I've done a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 44 rows, and I'll just 44 rows, and I just want to measure and confirm the width that I have so far. So I'm going to measure from the half double crochet part, and when I measure these without stretching, I'm at about 13 inches, and then when I give this a bit of a stretch, it's getting me to 16.5, and like I mentioned, I wanted to get to 18 inches. Now the number of rows that you work should be a number that is divisible by 4. This is 44, so I'm going to add 4 more to get me to 48. I'm done with the 48 rows, and so my back panel is ready. Then I'll take the 48 and divide it by 4, and that will give me 12. And then I'll get a stitch marker and mark the very last row that I've done. So right there I've marked my row. Then I'm going to work another row all the way to the top, that is row 49. I'm going to begin right here by chaining 1. So chain 1 and turn to begin row 49. And for row 49 we're going to work the 20 single crochets, 1 into each of the first 20 stitches. Then after that we'll change to half double crochet stitches, and then when we get to the last stitch we're going to work an increase, and we're going to work increases for a total of the 12 rows. Now if your back panel is 40 rows, you're going to take the 40, divide it by 4, and that will give you 10. And that will mean that the rows that you're going to increase are 10. If say your total number of rows for the back panel are 52, you're going to take 52, divide it by 4, and that will give you 13. And that means you're going to increase for a total of 13 rows. And when we are only doing the increase at the top part of the top, or the upper part of the top. So let me get to that upper part and I'll show you how to work that increase. So now I'm in the half double crochet stitches, and I'm going to work a total of 20 half double crochets. I'm coming to the end of that row and I'm just placing my half double crochets. Then I'm in the very last stitch, and right there I'm going to place 2 half double crochets instead of 1, and that will be the first increase. So that's 1, and then I go back there with another half double crochet. So that's our first row of increase. Chain 1 and turn to begin the second row of increase, and we're going to start the second row with an increase. So 2 half double crochets in the very first stitch, that is 1 and 2. Then all the other stitches that are half double crochets will get just 1 half double crochet. Then when you get to the single crochets, we're going to change from half double crochets to single crochets. So this is my row 50, and I'll just work the half double crochets and the single crochets. Then I'll go all the way to the end. When I get to the end, I'll chain 1 and turn, work the 20 single crochets, then change back to half double crochets. And when I get to the end of row 3 of the increase, which will be my row 51, I'll do an increase. So I'll do this row, then I'll be back as I come to the end of the next row. I'm coming to the end of my third row of increase, so I'll do the increase at that last stitch, 1 and 2 half double crochets. Then I'm going to chain 1 and turn to begin row 4 of the increase, and because we are on the side where the stitch marker is, we're going to start by increasing. So 1 and 2 half double crochets in the first stitch. Then all the other stitches will get 1 half double crochet until we get to where the single crochet stitches are. And we're going to continue with this pattern until we get a total of 12. That is in my case. If you're working your top smaller, you might have to work up to 10 or 11. If you're working it larger than mine, you might have to work to 13, 14, 15, and so on. So keep going until you get that number of rows that you've gotten when you've divided the back panel by 4. Make sure that you increase on the upper part of the top. I'm done with the 12 rows of increase, so I'll remove the stitch marker and move it up to the last row that I've done right there. So then beginning from the bottom part of my top, I'll chain 1 and turn. Then I'll work this row with no increase at all. So from this row, for the next 12 rows, I'll work with no increase. So I'll just work 20 single crochets, and then I'll work the half double crochets on the upper part. Because I've increased for 12, I've added 12 more stitches. That means my half double crochets are now 32, from 20 to 32. So I'll be working 20 single crochets and 32 half double crochets for the next 12 rows. If yours were 10, you'll work for the next 10. If they were 15, you're going to work for the next 15 rows without increasing at all. At the end, I'll just work that last half double crochet, then I'll chain one and turn. So notice that I've not done an increase, so chain one and turn, begin with one half double crochet, then I'll work my 32 half double crochets and then keep going with the rows. I'll be back once I'm done with the 12 rows with no increase. I'm done with the 12 rows, and after the 12 rows at this point, we have half of the front panel or the front part of the top. So this is how it looks like. So I'm going to add one more row. So regardless of the number of rows that you've done, you're going to do one extra row. So instead of 12, I'll have 13 on this part. If you had 10, you're going to have 11. If you had, like, say 15, you're going to have 16. So from here, this is the 14th from the point where the stitch marker is. So I'll just complete the row, chain one, turn, and then work that one extra row. I'm done with that row. So I'm going to chain one and cut off the yarn, pull through, and fasten. So the reason why I've added one extra row is so that we have an extension for where we're going to have our zipper. So the zipper is going to be on this row and the second one right here. That's where the zipper is going to lie. Then we need to do another extension on this other side, completely identical to this. So when this folds in, like I showed you before, it's half of the front part of the top. So we need to do another half like this one on this other side. So I'm going to connect the yarn from this point right here, the first stitch, insert the hook, get the yarn, slip stitch. You need to mark this last row right here. So mark the row so that you know where the increase is beginning. Do not remove the stitch marker at this other point where after the increase. So you need that stitch marker right there because that's how we're going to do the straps. So now after connecting the yarn, let me show you that again. In the first stitch, insert the hook and pull up a loop, then chain one, go back into that stitch with a single crochet. Then we're going to have a single crochet into the next stitch, a single crochet into the third stitch, into the fourth, and work a total of 20 single crochets. As you can see, I'm working over this end just to weave it in. I'm done with the 20 single crochets, so I'll change to half double crochets, and I'm going to do the 20 half double crochets. In the last stitch, I'll work one more half double crochet for that first increase in that row. Chain one and turn. We're going to begin the second row with an increase. So two half double crochets into the first stitch, then one half double crochet in the next 20. stitches, or until we get to the single crochets. I'm done with the half double crochets, so I'll change to single crochets, a total of 20 single crochets to the end of row 2. So this is row 2 of the other side of the front part of the top, and I'm going to work a total of 12 rows with the increase. I'm done with the 12 rows, so I'm going to move the stitch marker to that last row right there. Then I'm going to work the next 12 rows plus 1, that is 13, without an increase at the top. I'm done with the 13 rows. So now I'll just chain 1 at the end and cut off the yarn. Chain 1, cut off the yarn, pull the yarn through and fasten, and the top is done. We only have the strap, so when we fold this like this, we're going to have the zipper over here. So you need to measure the length of the front part and get yourself a zipper that is of that length. So we have a length of 12. Remember, we are measuring without stretching. 12.5 for the length of the zipper that I'm going to get. Yeah, around 12.5. Let's work the straps to the top, and you're going to work at the points where we have the stitch markers. So I'll begin with this strap on this side. I'll insert my hook at that point, then take out the stitch marker, get the yarn, and start with a slip knot like this. Then you're going to reconnect it right there and pull the yarn through. Then chain 1, then go back into that row with 1 half double crochet, then 1 half double crochet into the next row. Chain 1 and turn to begin row 2 of the strap. So the rows will each have 2 half double crochets. So begin in the first stitch, place 1 half double crochet, and then 1 half double crochet into the second stitch. That's row 2. Chain 1 and turn to begin row 3. 1 half double crochet into the first stitch, 1 half double crochet into the second stitch, chain 1 and turn to begin row 4. Then work the 2 half double crochets, 1 into each of the stitches. So that's 1 and 2. Chain 1 and turn to begin row 5. Start with the first half double crochet, then the second one. Now I'll keep going with these rows until I have a total of 28 rows. 28 rows will give me a length of 13 inches when the strap is stretched. So you need to get the length of your strap and work rows that will give you that length when the strap is stretched. So in my case, I'll work 28 rows. I'm in row 6 right now. And so I'll keep going till I get to the 28 and then come back to show you how to connect these at the back. I'm done with the 28 rows, and I'm just going to measure these to make sure that it stretches up to the 13 inches that I needed. So right here, without stretching, I'm at 9 inches. So let me give this a bit of a stretch. And when I do, it gets me to 12. So I think I'll do 2 more rows. 2 more rows will get me to 13. So that will be 30 rows instead of 28. The number of rows that you're going to work is totally dependent on the hook that you're using and the size of the yarn that you're using and the stretch of the yarn. So I've done this before with another type of yarn and 28 was enough, but this one I'll need to do the 30. So this is the last row for my strap, and that will get me to that length of the strap that I need. So now I'll chain one, and I'll need to go to the back part of the top to reconnect the strap. And to do that, I'll turn my work to the wrong side. So like when I fold this is the wrong side of my work. So I'll fold it like that, turn to the back side, and I was working 12 rows. I worked 12 rows and 12. So now at the back, I'll need to count 12 rows from, this is the armpit part of our top. So from this point, I'll count 12 rows. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is a 12th row. I'm going to mark it. And then just turn my work like this so that I can connect the strap at the back. And I'm going to start the connection at that 12th row that I've marked. So insert the hook into that row and then insert it into the first stitch of the strap and grab this loop. Get the loop through the stitch and through the row. Then chain one. Then insert the hook into the next row and onto the second row, the second stitch on the strap, then pull the yarn through, and then pull it through. That's a slip stitch, then chain one and cut off the yarn. The strap is now connected. Cut off the yarn, pull it through, and there we have our strap in place on the other side. Then I'll turn back to the right side of the top. So then I'll need to connect the other strap onto the other side. Now on this side, I'll not start at the stitch marker, but on the row right after the stitch marker, right there. That's where I'm going to connect the yarn. Slip knot like that, then pull the yarn through. After reconnecting the yarn, we chain one, then go back into that row with 1/2 double crochet, and then we're going to remove the stitch marker and place a 1/2 double crochet into that row that had the stitch marker. That's our first row of the strap. Chain one and turn to work the second row. We're going to work 1/2 double crochet into the first stitch, then 1/2 double crochet into the second stitch, chain one and turn and work row 3, and I'm going to work a total of 30 rows. Then I'll be back and show you how to connect the strap at the back, just like we did with the first one. I have my 30 rows ready, so I'll just turn to the back part of the top on the wrong side to connect that strap, and I'll do that after counting the 12 rows. So if your rows were 15, you need to count 15. If they were 10, you're definitely just counting the 10. So right here, I'm just counting my 12 rows. Then I'm going to insert the hook right after the 12th row. Then I'll get the strap and insert the hook into the first stitch of the strap. Then I'll grab that loop and pull it through the stitch and the row on the back part, then chain one. Then I'll go into the next row and onto the second stitch of the strap, slip stitch, then chain one and cut off the yarn at that point, and we are done with the connection of the second strap. So we are almost done. The only thing that's remaining now is to do a little bit of edging at the top part of the top, and then do the zipper.
So I'll begin from here, work through the strap all the way through the back part, through the next strap, and I'll end at this point.
I'm going to connect the yarn on that first row right there, insert the hook and pull up a loop of the yarn. Then you want to make sure that there remains a short end for weaving in, chain 1, and as I do this, I'm going to work over all the ends that are on that upper part of the top. So I've already chained 1, and so I'll go back into that row and place a single crochet. Then the second row will get 2 single crochets. So that is, so we have 1 and 2 single crochets into the same row. The row that follows will get just 1 single crochet, and I'm working over my ends, so remember to work over yours. The next row will get 2 single crochets, so that is 1 and 2. The next one will get 1 single crochet. Then I'll continue like this till I get to the strap. The row just before my strap gets a single crochet, then we're going to get onto the row
I'll
on the
just continue
strap.
with
Then we're
alternating
going to
between 1
place
single
2
crochet
single
and 2 single
crochets into
crochets,
that row.
just like I've.
The next row will get 1 single crochet, and then the next one will get 2 single crochets. Then I'll continue all the way around the strap, through the back part of the top, through the next strap, and I'll come back to the front part. I'll meet you once I get back to that part. I'm coming to the end of that row of edging, and in the last row I'll have 1 single crochet, then I'll chain 1 and cut off the yarn at that point. Then I'll pull the yarn through and fasten. So that part of the edging is done, and we also need to do an edging on the inner part of the straps, like on the armpit part. So we've done all the way through the back part, but then we need to do this part right here and the part on the other side right there. So I'll begin from the bottom of the strap over here on the armpit part of the top. Then I'll work all around just like I've done with the other side. So let me get the yarn and then I'll reconnect it and do that edging. Starting with the row just below the strap, I'll insert my hook, grab a loop of the yarn and slip stitch, then chain 1. So chain 1 and then go back into that stitch with a single crochet. It's a row. The next row gets 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Then the next one gets 1 single crochet. So we basically alternating between 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets, and I'm going to work that all round that part, including the rows on the strap. Then I'll meet you back here where I've started. I'm coming to the end and I'm just placing my last few single crochets on the strap. That's my last single crochet on the last row, so then I'll slip stitch into the very first stitch and chain 1, then cut off the yarn, pull it through and fasten. Then I'm going to go onto the other side and do the same exact thing. So on the other side of the top, I'll connect the yarn just like I connected on this side and do that edging. So let me do that off camera, then come back. I'm done with that edging, so now I'll get my darning needle and I'm going to weave in the ends. Before that, I'll trim off all the tiny ends that have remained on my project after weaving in the ends as I was working the edging, just to clean up my top. Next, I'll get the darning needle and weave in the remaining ends. My top is all clean and now it's time to attach the zipper. So now get your zipper and let's do that. For this part, you're going to need the zipper and then a zipper that is in the same color with your top. Then you're going to need a sewing needle. We're going to sew this by hand. The other thing that you're going to need is thread. I'll just use this yarn that I was using because it's lightweight. And then you're going to need pins. Now get the zipper in the top and place your zipper at that point where we're going to connect it. Remember, this zipper should be an open zipper. I forgot that I was supposed to buy an open zipper and I bought a closed one. So then I'm going to pin the zipper onto the first row of the top on one side, and I'm going to pin at different parts of the top just to make sure that when I'm working or when I'm sewing the zipper to the top, it doesn't move around and that it's going to be straight. And make sure that you're not stretching. Do not stretch your work as you attach the zipper, because if you do stretch, it's going to be like creased. So now go on, pin your zipper in place. And then we're going to get the thread and the sewing needle. Make sure there's a knot at the end of the thread. Then start from the bottom of the top. Go through the zipper and the first stitch of the top with the sewing needle. Then you're just going to sew it together. So for this part, just watch and learn. So I'm going to sew all the way to the top, and when you're sewing, make sure that your stitches are tight enough. Not too tight, but make sure that it's in place or it's holding in place perfectly. So as I'm sewing, I usually go over a stitch, then like I'm sewing one stitch at a time. I'm not skipping a stitch on the top. So I'll keep going all the way to the top part of my top. At this point, at the end, I'm coming to the end actually, and my zipper is in place on one side. So yeah, I'm working the last row right there, and this is what we have. To secure the upper part, we're going to fold in the zipper and sew it on the upper part of the top, just to ensure that the zip does not fall off when we zip it up to the top. So right here I've folded that part and I'm just going to sew it in place and secure the zipper. Once the zipper is well secured, I'll just get a pair of scissors and cut off the remaining part of the zipper. So cut it off, and then after that I'll just continue sewing on the bottom part of the zipper so that it doesn't show at that upper part. So I'll just make sure that that lower part is secured too. Once I'm done securing the zipper, I'll do a knot and then I'll weave in the remaining part of the yarn onto the stitches of the top and then cut off the remaining part of the yarn or the thread that you're using. So cut it off, and now we have the zipper on one of the sides. So now I'll go to the other side and pin the zipper from the bottom coming up. So let me do the pins and then we're going to sew the zipper onto the top on that other side. Get your sewing needle and the thread and make sure that you have a knot at the beginning. Then we're going to start by folding the zipper at the top. We're going to work this side from the top part. I'll start by folding it in and securing it like we did on the other side. Then after that, we can attach all the way to the bottom. So let me do the securing and ensure that the zipper does not fall off when it comes to this end. And then I'll start working to the bottom part. I'm at the end, I'm securing that place, and then after that I'll do a knot from the inside part of the top. So make the knot and then weave in the end that has remained. The zipper is now in place and our top is ready. So thank you so much for watching to the end. If you've enjoyed the tutorial, leave a like, comment, share and subscribe, and see you in the next tutorial.